Hello, welcome to Breakfast All Day. I'm Matt, here with Alonso and Christy. Annette opens in theaters. It was getting a lot of buzz at the Cannes Film Festival. It's going to be on Amazon in a couple of weeks, but it's in theaters this weekend. It's a musical, and one of my compatriots will tell you all about it.
I will. I'm going to try really hard to explain Annette to you without spoiling anything because there's so much to discover here and it's so strange as a film from Leos Carax tends to be. And this was written by Russell and Ron Mael, the Sparks, and they did the music for it. So lots of singular and strange and daring artists coming together here to make a singular and strange and daring film. So Adam Driver plays a stand-up comic named Henry McHenry, who has a very specific brand of abrasive and kind of verbally abusive humor. And his whole bit is that he comes out on stage in like a boxing robe and he's smoking and he's kind of an insult comic, I guess, but he's also just making like barbs about society in general. It's not really funny.
It's
that's
confrontational.
Yeah, it is. It's provocative. He's a shit stirrer. And he is famous and infamous and he has a very loyal following. When we see him, he's playing the Orpheum. This is an LA movie, somewhat. Gets the geography right, kind of. He's playing the Orpheum to a very appreciative crowd. Also downtown, his soon-to-be wife, his soon-to-be fiancée wife and the mother of his child, played by Marion Cotillard, is the celebrated opera soprano, and she's performing at the Walt Disney Hall. And they have very different careers, but they're both on the rise, and they get together, and the tabloids track their every move. And they have a little girl, and her name is Annette. And then when she's like two-ish, something happens with her where it's clear that she has this incredible talent. And it's what happens with her and her talent and what happens with this marriage and with fame. And it's a musical, but not in a way that is particularly joyful.
No.
Or like celebratory or catchy. You won't be humming these songs at all. And although a lot of Sparks songs can be very catchy, I don't feel like that is their intent with this. It's intended to be off-putting and thought-provoking. I'm guessing about, and I'd love to hear what your theories are, you guys, the nature of fame and ambition and being creative and the difficulty in maintaining both a fulfilling creative life and a nurturing personal life, which again is a theme we've seen millions of times throughout film and TV, but this is through the bizarre prism of Leos Carax and the Mael brothers. What do you guys think?
Yeah, it's very much, it's an LA movie, not only in geography, but I think it's sort of like you can see Carax kind of having fun with the idea of like the Hollywood story, whether it's something fictional like Sunset Boulevard or genuine real life tragedies like, the Natalie Wood death. There are moments in the film that you can tell are meant to sort of call up these sort of grand sort of Hollywood tragedies, in the telling of another grand Hollywood tragedy, basically. And yeah, you're right. The songs it's not as far as like, it doesn't go to the extent of something like The Umbrellas of Cherbourg, where every single line is sung, but the songs do feel conversational and more about like plot or character than necessarily expressing emotion or sentiment. They're more about just sort of like pinpointing where these people are and why and what's happening to them and how. And so we're trying to sort of talk around the places this movie goes, because I went in knowing nothing and I was caught by surprise on more than one occasion. I think like Driver and Cotillard are terrific, and they they ground material that could very easily just feel very abstract, which is a thing that performers have to do in Carax films. You know, Holy Motors doesn't work unless Denis Lavant is somebody that you can totally like land on and understand as a human being, even as he's transforming himself into all these other people over the course of the film. You know, it's sort of the same thing here. And, you know, this is one of those movies, like I saw it for the first time yesterday. I need to sit on this one for a while to really get it. I think, you know, like, and I have a mixed record with Carax. I can't stand Pola X. I never want to see that movie again, but I loved Holy Motors, you know. And this one I think is one that I'm going to want to come back to and sort of like, you know, go in now knowing what happens and seeing what I can spot in the early scenes that might sort of foreshadow or foretell or whatever. But yeah, I think if you're up for the challenge of a movie that is not going to go in any way that you expect or be told in any way that you expect, I think there's a lot that you can enjoy here.
Yeah, I found this to be very operatic in a lot of places. And I like that. Or, you know, this is a movie, I haven't seen anything like this in a while. That's the best thing I could say is, you know, this movie goes in a lot of places where you don't expect, but it's not ever hard to follow. You know, is it kind of heightened in certain, you know, it's tough to call this realistic, but there are places where it's definitely grounded. It also winks at the audience more than a few times, but in a good way. Like there's a song, you know, kind of the love song that Henry and Anne have, first of all, almost sounds like a dirge. Like it's not particularly joyous, right? But then when they're doing that during their sex scenes, it's bonkers. And you know, I think it's meant to be funny. Yeah, this is a movie that is going to stick with me. Like Alonso, I've seen it. I actually just watched it this morning. So, you know, I probably need to think about it. But I did like it. I think it's got, you know, an interesting look at just a tragic figure that Driver plays. I also think it's one of the best performances I think we've ever seen out of Adam Driver. That he's amazing. He's amazing in this, in that he's got to do, you know, what is ultimately this very, I mean, the idea of musicals anyway, like people just singing their way through a scene, but just the way he's able to communicate what he's doing and keep it relevant and again, grounded, I was very, very impressed with.
And it's tough technically, I'm sure, too, because so much of it is sung through, to also then convey the emotion required of those songs and like hit all your marks. I forgot to mention the beginning of this is this one spectacularly long tracking shot.
Oh, yeah.
Where a whole lot of stuff is going on of like taking off and putting on of clothes and getting in and getting out of cars and walking through doorways and going down stairways. And it's really complicated. And Ron and Russell Mael are in it, as is Leia's Carax. Like they're all in it, like kind of, it's almost like the Greek kind of tragedy quality to the artifice, the self-aware artifice of the way they set the stage for this.
And then later,
and they're singing like, so now we, or so can we start? So can we start? So that's like,
right. It's like the chorus comes out and starts the show.
Very aware. Right. That whole tracking shot sort of puts you in the mood of like putting you on edge.
Yeah.
In the very beginning.
And also providing you with a little distance in that you are about to see a filmed drama. Like these are the performers who are about to perform this story for you, you know. Also, later in the film, there's an amazing sort of circular tracking shot with Simon Helberg.
He's so good in this.
Yeah, so good.
You know, and it's like, and they might have fudged it, like, but because it seems like this uninterrupted, like triple thing, but it's really impressive and it really captures this moment for that character in a really exciting way. So,
and what he's having to do in that scene too is that he's having to simultaneously do his job, but also talk to us.
Yes. Yeah.
And he's great because he keeps going like, pardon me. And he's got it, yeah. And that's
and
so
back
good.
To his job.
I want to point out about the chorus. Stay through this is another one. Stay through the credits.
Yes, that comes back as well. Yeah, I mean, Carax is a fascinating filmmaker, and he's very idiosyncratic. And the fact that he's made this movie that has like one of the world's leading movie stars in it, I think is going to bring people to it. And given that Sparks are having a moment, thanks to the Edgar Wright documentary, I think that's going to bring a lot of appeal to it of people who might otherwise not have checked this out. But just be ready for some stone cold weirdness, because that's what we're dealing with here.
I do want to say though, I'm a little concerned. Like, I hope people take this movie as of a piece, as one big kind of work of art, as opposed to, I hope that people don't focus on particular elements of it and be like, oh, I just couldn't get past blank.
Oh, well, believe me, when it comes out to Amazon in 2 weeks, some asshole is going to have like 30 seconds of it and put it on Twitter, be like, what's going on here? You know?
Yeah. And I think that sells it short. I think that there's artistic decisions that get made, and I think you have to look at this as a whole experience, because I think taking out one, and that's not the only thing. There's a couple other elements too that I just think I hope people go into this with an open mind and kind of look at what they're getting at rather than focusing on the tools they're using.
Yeah. And everyone is very committed to that one particular artistic decision in a way that gives it like emotional heft, like surprising care and emotional heft. I also want to mention this young actress, Devin McDowell, who plays an older version of their daughter, Annette, at the end of it. More than completely holds her own, singing and acting opposite Adam Driver. It is an incredible conclusion to this film. It's so powerful. Her poise just blew me away. I love watching Adam Driver sing, because I can't say that he has like a pleasant voice, but there's such authenticity to the emotion behind it that it's so compelling.
It's like, I remember I was, after seeing the movie of Little Shop of Horrors, which I really liked, I got the Broadway cast album, and the Seymour on Broadway was a singer, and Rick Moranis is not necessarily a singer, but he could act the shit out of those songs and give you all of the emotional payoffs that you want to get from it. So yeah, I think Adam Driver isn't a singer, but he definitely knows how to convey what he needs to convey.
He can sing, as we saw in Marriage Story too. I mean, he can sing, but it's not like a pleasant, like mellifluous voice.
Yes, well, you know what I'm saying. He can sing, but he's not. No one is beating down his door to play Curly in Oklahoma.
No, and we saw, I think what's a little bit weird too is that he's got such that deep stentorian voice, and so when he's singing in this kind of tenor, it's like.
Yeah, he's got a lot of range.
Yeah. No. There's a lot of surprises here.
It is, and I feel like if anyone knows about this movie at all, it's because when it premiered at Cannes, there was such great shock over the sex scene. Like that was like a giddy kind of giggly thing for people to talk about. And there is so much more going on here thematically, technically. It's I think I need to raise my score. I think I'm talking myself up to a higher score. So I'm going to say 8.
I said 8.5.
Okay.
What did I say? 8.5?
This is 7.5, Matt.
I should be up to 8 then.
Okay.
So that's an 8.2.
Tremendous. Thanks for on the fly math, Alonso. 8.2. So Annette, it is Amazon, and it's going to be out on Amazon. They spent what, like
on the 20th?
On the 20th? Okay.
Yeah, it's in theaters for 2 weeks, and then it hits Amazon Prime on August 20th. So, if you feel safe going into a theater, I mean, it would behoove you to get ahead of the online chatter about and try and see it with as clean a slate as possible. But if not, catch it on Amazon, stay off Twitter for a while, and just revel in it, because this is there's a lot happening here. Like I said, let's circle back in a year and talk about this again, because I think I'm going to need some time to let this one stew. But anyway,
talk about the color scheme. We did talk about that. She always wears red and he always wears green, but there's also a yellow component. Let's talk about that sometime.
Among other topics, for sure. All right. Thanks for watching, everybody. Like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Check us out at BeFast All Day on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And do head over to our Patreon page and give us a subscription. Lots of exclusive fun stuff over there, including our recaps right now of the delightful Ted Lasso in its 2nd season. So until next time, bye.